FM. We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. And don't forget about watching us, which you can do on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see I'm not alone in the studio on this Friday. We have acclaimed songwriter Tommy Rice. He has been honored with the prestigious Songwriter of the Year Award at the 2024 International Singer-Songwriter Association Awards. And the award recognizes Rice's exceptional talent, dedication, and contribution to the world of music. We can say that's a good thing. But I love the start of his story because he didn't start out with music in mind as a profession many years ago. So welcome, Tommy.
It's good to be here. I appreciate you inviting me.
I appreciate you joining us and opening up and sharing some of your story because you've only been in the music business how many years?
This will be the 4th year next year.
Right. And so that means that you have lived a couple of lifetimes in terms of profession. So I know a lot of this got started with your lovely wife. So wherever you feel comfortable, Mr. Tommy, will you start us with your story?
We was just met by accident and became best friends, and then we got married. It's just been a story that's the reason I wrote a book about it, a story of life. It's just something that was amazing to find a couple that close. And the secret to it was her love of Jesus. She changed my whole life, and it was just amazing. But we had a situation arise one Monday morning. We was doing our devotional, and she couldn't read the devotional. And I knew something was so wrong, so I got in the car as fast as I could and went to St. Dominic. And they knew the same, so they rushed her back in the MRIs. And it came back with a huge tumor on the right side of her, above her eye on the right side of her head. And then we rushed her into surgery that Wednesday and took the tumor out. And Saturday, the brain surgeon walked in the room and said it was glioblastoma. And I wasn't familiar with that, but he said it's very serious cancer. And he gave her 90 days to live. Now, all this happened within, we had a great weekend out, and come Monday morning, we was facing with
no life, no signs.
No sign.
How long had y'all been married to this point?
20 years. 20 years. And then we got Dr. Frederick walked in the room. She is some kind of doctor. She said, well, we don't set times on that. God sets that for us. We're going to fight everything we had. So we fought for 2 years and 8 months. And watching somebody you love that much every day, seeing some of her leaving is tough. Mm-hmm. But we done all we could. And when she passed, it was devastating. I was grieving myself to death. So I was going to the Hospice of Risen, the classes there for grief. And she told us to write down your story. It does you good to write it down because it helps your mind release some of the feelings. So I did, and when I did, it was really, it grabbed your heart immediately. And we read it to our class, and I got, everybody started crying. He said, you need to make a song out of that. And I said, I've never done that before. So I've been in business at 2 companies, and so I've learned that you can do anything you set your mind to do. I always prayed at first. So that's how I got started and went to the kitchen table, and I titled it. The title came to my head just like that, Miss Her More Today Than Yesterday. Same title as the book and the first song. So I did the best I could, and I sent it to Nashville, to a place I heard about, and I didn't think too much of it. In about 2.5 months, I got it, and I didn't know what an MP3 was. And I started playing it, and immediately tears started flowing. I couldn't believe it. So I was at the hospital having a test run, and when you have glioblastoma, you get to the hospital all the time. So my family was St. Dominic, it still is. So I said, girls, I want y'all to listen to this and tell me the honest truth, that you think this is worth pursuing. So I never forget, I started playing it, and most of them left the counter. They couldn't handle it. And that's how I got started. And so I thought that'd be my only song I would have. And so about 2 weeks later, I got something, just another title in my mind, constantly in my mind. Mm-hmm. It's about our story. And it's progressed now to 400 songs. And we're blessed to have Kendall Loggins' family handling this for us.
So you write the music, Tommy. Do you also sing the music?
No, I don't sing the music. See, I have female, and I picked out some top-notch female artists and male artists in Nashville.
I was going to say, because if you found that career after so long that you didn't know you could sing, that'd be incredible. So you're writing these songs. I'm
writing the songs, and we get together, and I send them to meet to the studios, and we have it's so much, I say fun to put this together, even though it's a hard thing, but I know Deborah would be happy to do this. She loved music. She had a great music. And so we just started doing it, and just one thing has led to another. And YouTube has got us. The music has been heard in 119 countries now, And we had 10 million views last year, and we expect to do that this year also. So we try and just we have a lot of radio stations that interview me, and I'm so humbled for that. It means a lot to me. But the main purpose of the book was to let people know how short life can be. And if they read the book, they will understand one thing. They will understand that you better love your wife and your family every day, because things can change so fast. Right. And that's the reason I wrote that. And I know she would want me to do that, but that's where we're at now, is that.
It's one thing because using your words or putting your words on paper as a form of therapy or for grieving. I think a lot of people do that. It's another thing, though, to share that. That's usually very intimate and personal, and you want to keep it for yourself or maybe close ones. What was it, Tommy, that you said, hey, I'm even going to read it to my class, like that you had the courage to even read it to your class? Well,
being a believer, you want to help others. Helping others helps yourself more, is the way I look at it. And I knew that other people are facing this. And I know my wife was, she's a type woman, she walks the room, she takes over the room. I mean, just by how much she just has that glow of love in her face, and everybody is attracted to that. So I said, I want to write this book. And I wrote it strong. I wrote it where when you start reading it, I humbly say this, it's going to grab you. And it's going to make you realize what's most important in life. And that's how I got started doing that. And now it's just, right now we're spreading God's love around the world, and we're spreading the love that we share together. But most important, how did we get that kind of love? You just don't. That's not hard to find, and I explained that in the book, and that's the reason I wrote the book.
You say it's not hard to find, but it sounds like you and your wife.
I said it's very hard to find.
Like I say.
Very hard to find.
Sounds like what you and Deborah had was one in a million.
Yeah, it was amazing. But life was an adventure, and now I've got a new adventure. She is still alive, I believe, and I feel her presence all the time. And so the way the songs come to me is just I carry this paper in my pocket because they come. The title comes first. Uh-huh. Then I sit out in my office, it gets perfectly still, my golden retriever on my foot, and its tones start coming to your head. So you write all of them down. Then you go back and tweak them about 30 days before you send it to the studio to make sure you want it right. If you're going to do something, do it right. And I'm a perfectionist, so I want to make sure everything rhymes. It's got good flow to it. It's got the melodies. And it's become a passion for me now. That's what it's come.
So have there been songs that haven't made it?
Nothing that has not made it. I say that I'm not giving myself credit. I give God credit for everything. These songs, well, let's put it this way. A friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, Ken Barrington, I gave the book to his wife, and she was going out of town that evening. And when she got through reading it, she was so taken by it, he wouldn't let her go because she didn't think she could, handle the driving. It affected so strongly because it's written strongly for that reason, because you got to get your attention, especially this day and time. And that will get your attention, when you have kids and wife and husband. And, it would make you realize that love them all you can, because it can change for you so fast.
Mr. Tommy, earlier in your life, did you write poetry? Had you been a good writer? Had you been good with words? Because oftentimes people who find themselves writing poems or poetry can also blend into the music or writing music, or sometimes music sounds like poetry when you're just reading it out. So had you had any background in, putting these types of things to paper?
Not any at all. I was basically in sales my whole life. I loved it. I found out by accident. I was bagging groceries at Piggly Wiggly in Northport, Alabama, and the gentleman at a church, this person would work at Sears on 15th Street in Tuscaloosa. I didn't have the right clothes. We was kind of poor. And he said, "Tom, I got a job in sales. What's it pay?" It's on commission. I said, "Oh, what does that mean?" So I was making $1.06 an hour, but the first day I worked there, I made $78 a day. I hit him. To me, that was like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I was able to buy mama clothes and stuff like that, a nice car drive. But that's how God sent me, opened the door for me to realize that's what I want to do the rest of my life. And that's what I've done. And my life has been an adventure of. There's never been we've had hard days at work, but a hard day is a good day when you do your hobby. Mm-hmm. That's the key to it. And this is my third career in doing my hobby, and how blessed I am.
To be able to also use something that was so painful for you and be able to provide an opportunity for others to, I'm sure, experience some kind of healing or some kind of emotion through your music as well. But stick with us. We got more with Mr. Tommy Rice. .fm. We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. But don't forget, you can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. We're continuing our conversation with songwriter Tommy Rice. His journey as a songwriter, though, began after the loss of his beloved wife, Deborah, but just over 3 years. And you have put in some work, Mr. Tommy, and your songs have gone places, as well as you putting y'all's love story in a book. Miss Her More Today Than Yesterday is the title, which is so beautiful, but also sad at the same time. But what inspired the cover of the book? Because it's absolutely beautiful. I had
a picture in my mind what I wanted to be. And we kept looking and looking and looking. Even the book, and doing this, for putting this book together, couldn't find it. I was at Capile Bank one morning making a deposit, and they have the calendar. And on that calendar was that picture. So we had to trace it down and buy it, but I had to have it. So I didn't. I found the guy that did that. That's where so that was kind of a sign. It was sent to me. That's how that came from. But it just seemed like things have come into my life. I really don't figure out how they come in, but they're coming. So I'm just going to take them as long as they are and produce it, and try to help others with what I've faced, and have music they can enjoy and feel the love in the music and touch their hearts with it.
In the book, in the opening, it says, "How can we as Christians carry on when tragedy strikes and robs us of our loved ones?" I feel like that resonates with a lot of people listening to Good Things, Tommy. I don't think there's anybody listening that hasn't at some point lost something or someone or on the verge of it. And you can have a lot of questions. Why me? Why now? Why Deborah?
It's no question about that. First thing you think, why Deborah? You know, she's a witness to you. She spreads your word everywhere. I mean, she helps people. She's just that type of person, but it happens. So you can do one of two things. You can blame God for it and turn against that, your faith, or you can understand that God's in control. And this particular cancer here is caused by chemicals. She lived next to a paper mill. Her brother died of the same cancer 3 months before she did. Her other brother died of brain cancer about 5 years ago, and her daddy had lung cancer. So we know it's chemical related. It's it's the deadliest cancer there is. But to answer your question, when the doctor walked in the room, Deborah had her girlfriends there. And he said that, we all started crying, obviously. And Deborah knew me of what I was going to do next. St. Dominic has a chapel downstairs on the south entrance. So, baby, I'm fixing to leave. She said, "I know where you're going." She was able to talk some once I took the tumor out some. So I went down to the chapel, and I got on my hands and knees, and I just asked God for direction, like I do in anything I do. Anything I bought a house or a car, I ask for direction to make sure I'm getting the right thing, and my name is everything. And so I started praying, and the tears turned into the fight mode. So we fixing to fight this. So I made financial preparation for whatever she needed, she got. So we went upstairs, and she knew the answer, and we started. And in walked Dr. Frederick, like I said before, and she had the same mentality. She is one of the finest doctors I've ever met in my life. And when you have this, you have seizures, strokes, heart issues, gain weight because of steroids to fight their seizures. Can't imagine what it's like to see when they give you radiation like she had and did the chemo. The chemo was so bad, if it touched your skin, it would burn a hole like sulfuric acid in your skin. Before you took the chemo, you had to sign a release form so it can cause death. Now and also home. So all those things were scary, but what choice did we have? Mm-hmm. She wanted to live so bad, and we were doing all we could do. So it was a fight. It was a 2-year and 8-year fight, 2 and 8 month fight. And we had a run for the cure at the St. Dominic in Madison. And that morning she got up. She was so sick she couldn't even walk. She would you have no idea what it's going to get, because it's so strong. She said, "I'm going." Her girlfriends came up. And what I did, whatever they wanted to do, we did it. If she wanted to go, we wouldn't want a truck. I'd have bought an ambulance if I had to. I'd have got her there somehow. I mean, that's the way. That's what I believe in. She got there, and she went out passing ribbons. She gained 140 pounds in 2 years from steroids, because when you have a seizure, if you don't give her this strong steroids, she's going to die. Mm-hmm. Blood pressure, she's sky high. But she was out there, and they took pictures of it. And I'll always remember that. And then we got through the chemo and radiation temporarily. So we had a celebration of life party at Char. Got the whole place. We had singing. We always put on parties at the house. It was always music there. Full food is everywhere. She just loved parties, and that's what you do. Mm-hmm. You put on, you fight and choose, and you fight, mm-hmm. and that's what you do. And hoping. See, when you go to Dr. Ruth's office, most people up there are terminally ill. Most of them have serious cancers. And we all became family. Some didn't have money, we donated. We all pitched in. We done what we could because this is a very expensive cancer. That's what you do. You become family. Your hospital becomes your family. The people that's got cancers become your family. You go, when they take his chemo, you try to pray with them. That's what you do. That's what we did.
And now you feel like you're fighting too, just to continue sharing her story and the things that come to you through your songs, now up to like 300-400 songs you had mentioned, Tommy. What's next for you? What's next for you and your music and your songs and Deborah's memory?
Well, what we're trying to do is we become Nashville. We become part of a group in Nashville, a publishing group. It has 4 publishing companies. And I got approved for that. And I was so honored by that. I was just quite shocked, but I was so honored by it. And what they do, I had Sony Music is one of them. So what they do is we pitch them songs, and when they find one they want to pitch to a songwriter, like Keith Urban, for instance, they handle Keith Urban, he would buy that song. And what I want to do is any proceeds from this book, any proceeds from the music, any proceeds from anything is going for a special cause I want to do. My goal is to have a place at the hospital that when you're dealing with terminally ill relatives, you can walk out that door and go to a place where you can shut it down, but you can still run across the street and get to your family. See, it's always there. I want a place to do that where they go over there, they can sleep there, they have a little kitchenette, they have a little recreation room where they can kind of relax as much as you can because you hadn't lived even in that kind of pressure. We was in ICU for 88 days.
That's a long
88
time.
days. It's a long time.
You also mentioned that Deborah knew what was coming and left you sweet notes around the house. What was it like finding her after?
Tears at first. But what you learn, you got to live on the great memories, the laughter. And when you live on that, it was a lot of things to laugh about because she had a great life. And so what I did, I took For My Beloved is one of them. She left me this little letter there. And, with the husband thing. But anyway, I made it into a song. I know that's what she would want me to do, is the key to it is helping others.
And others can be helped through your music by listening to it. You mentioned you're all around the world, but including here, we can find it. Where can we find your music?
Tommy Rice YouTube. It's got 130 songs, recorded songs. Is the first place I would go to. You go to Spotify. Any link out there, Manziel Media's got it on there. They do an outstanding job, and Doris has put it everywhere. So but any link that deals with music, we own it. So you get the music there. But YouTube, you can listen to it freely. But I would recommend that.
Tommy, how do we get the book? Miss Her More Today than Yesterday.
The book is at Walmart. You can buy it there, and it's just. I think if people would listen to it, I can promise it's going to touch your heart. And also, it'll make you realize how short life can be. So we went from happy to sad and just in one night. Woke up that morning. And it's intended to do that, spread the love of Jesus, and we got the love we share together. But most important, it'll make you realize you take your life one day at a time and be thankful you have a family. Be thankful you have children that you can love and care for, and family members, your mom and dad. But never, things can change. I make that very clear in the book, and the book would definitely open your eyes to what's most important in life. It's not money, what your net worth is, how big a car you drive, how big your house is in. All of that is monetary. It's temporary. All this stuff is temporary, but the love is forever. Love is the key to life.
And for those listening, Tommy, that may be walking through grief right now, it seems like you have managed it well, but still probably have times where it's hard. What's some encouragement to them to not give up?
First thing you got to do is being a Christian. In our house, we have a prayer room. In that prayer room, you walk in there, and it's that quiet time every day with Jesus. People don't realize if you start your day out with that, you're gonna have hard days. I've had a lot of them, but they handle them differently. But if you do that and get your mind located in your faith, Jesus will build you a foundation to handle anything. And saying that's what will pull you through that. And your friends, your churches have grief classes you go to. I recommend going to there. But you just got to have time to heal. And in my case, I won't ever heal totally from this. I'll have scars because our love was kind of you become one. I mean, we almost thought a lot, and I knew what she was going to say before she said it sometimes. But but what you do also, you're thankful that you had that kind of love. But
absolutely.
And I live off the good memories too. That you dwell on the bad memories, see what cancer does to a human body. It's unbelievable. This type of cancer. It's what it does is I'll never forget the sights I saw. But at the same time, after a year, and writing the music helped me. I tell you, writing helps you. Write down what you feel.
Right.
If
and
you feel
never
bad,
know,
write
you
it
might
down.
wind up being a songwriter like you, Mr. Tommy. And go to TommyWritesMusic.net to get all the information. And we appreciate your time, Mr. Tommy.
I appreciate you.
All right, it's Friday. We've got Tanya with movies coming in next.